Before we dive into the tool, there are a few important things to note. First, your organization must complete the audit tool in order to apply for funding. Second, you may need to get help from staff who are most familiar with your programming, so it might be helpful to go through on paper first, following along in the application guide before you enter the online tool. Thirdly, it's important to note that this tool is not intended to make you feel bad for not addressing certain areas, and that low scores will not negatively impact your chances of receiving funding. We know there's a lot of work to be done around accessibility, which is why we created this grant in the first place. Finally, your scores are fully confidential. The grant review panel will see them alongside your application, but only to determine if your projects are addressing the gaps that you identified, not to compare you to other organizations who are applying. With all that out of the way, let's enter the tool itself. You can access the tool by clicking the link on the grant webpage. You'll notice that the first page has a brief overview of the Accessibility Audit tool and an introduction. The next step is to enter some general information about you and your organization. This will be used to ensure your eligibility and match your audit tool to your application. From here, you will move into the first pillar, Affordability. You'll notice a short description of the pillar at the top of the page and why it's important to consider. We've included a few examples of possible projects, but these are meant to spark ideas. We know you might have many others. Each pillar has a number of categories within it. Review each and respond using the sliding bar to indicate where your organization is currently. To score a 0 means that your organization has not addressed or considered this area at all, while a score of 100 means that you've fully addressed and considered this area. At the end of each section, you're given an opportunity to round out the story of where your organization currently is, as we know there may be some things not captured through the scales, such as work done to date, or why this has or hasn't been a priority area. You'll have the option to include text or upload pictures or documents, but these are not a requirement of your application. Once you've gone through all 6 pillars, you'll be asked to rate them according to your current priorities. In your application, this will help build a case for why you are applying for certain projects over others. You'll then see a summary of all your scores and priorities across all the pillars. While you won't need to enter these numbers in your application, we think they're helpful when considering which pillars or areas you want to address with the funding from the grant, so you may wish to write them down. Once you've completed the audit tool, you're ready to build out your project ideas and budget.